They were both miraculous. The first one was of Christ. Second one was of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I was never really dumb, so that was enough to make me know that this is all about Christianity and the Catholic Church. And I'm very grateful for those experiences. And for about 15 years, I didn't tell anyone about them. The first few weeks, I told a few people, but they just thought I was nuts. And I just went along with my life as it was in an odd way. But then Providence seemed to arrange for me to start giving my witness testimony. And I'm not exactly sure why it works, so to speak. In the first experience, I was an atheist. I didn't know anything about, God or eternal life or divine providence or the reward or punishment for actions after death and so forth. That's not really very centrally addressed in Judaism. That's another topic for another talk. And it was all shown to me. It was shown to me in this experience. It wasn't a near-death experience, but it was a falling into heaven experience, essentially, and very immediate experience of the presence of God, and also being shown what I now know are the truths of the Catholic faith. I didn't know that's what they were at the time. I just knew that they were true and they were coming from God. Now, I'm getting a little long-winded, but basically, I'm not exactly sure why recounting my witness testimony has a very positive effect for people. But I know from the feedback that it often does, that somehow the idea that this guy, I was very anti-Catholic, to tell the truth, when this happened. I had a huge chip on my shoulder. As you mentioned, my parents were Holocaust refugees, which didn't help much. And I guess the idea that, first of all, this guy who's a Harvard professor, now that shouldn't make me any more credible than St. Bernadette or, the peasant children of Fatima, but somehow in our day and age, people like to hear that a Jewish Harvard professor became a fanatic Catholic because he was shown the truth. And not only that, I was shown specific aspects of the truth, which I like to talk about, and that seemed to penetrate. The first time I went down to EWTN, I got a letter afterwards from one of the contemplative sisters down there who said that she had the biggest mystical experience of her life after having heard my witness testimony. So I'm not responsible for any of this. I don't know why it happens, but it does happen sometimes. And even if it's not good for one's faith or one's confidence in God or confidence in the truth of the Catholic faith, the other side of the story, which is the fact that the story of it began in the Garden of Eden, and then in another way, it began with Abraham. And the entire story of Judaism leads up to and is completed and fulfilled in the Catholic Church. And that's a perspective that not enough Catholics have. The temptation is to think that Jesus came and started this whole ball rolling. And it's not true. I mean, he did start the whole ball rolling. I don't mean that part of it isn't true. But he was the Jewish Messiah, and he was the purpose of all of Judaism. So the story of the Catholic Church, at the very least, begins with Abraham, begins with the selection of the Jews in order to bring about the coming of our Redeemer, and then his coming, which happened 2,000 years ago, and his transformation of the relationship between God and man, which preceded his coming, into the relationship we have now through the sacraments of the Catholic Church and through faith in. And if that wasn't enough for the Jews to have an important role, we know as Catholics, they have an important role in between the first and second coming, and an important role in bringing about the second coming. And so, I guess when I talk, some of it is usually witness testimony, some of it is exhortation and evangelization, but some of it is also kind of catechesis on the fact, actually, that the Catholic Church is stage 2 of a process of which Judaism was stage 1, and stage 1 was transformed into. So anyway, People like it. I don't know why, but people seem to like it.